thing, we will go to the operator first, I think, and talk about Ram, which looks very, very exciting. And I think a lot of the times while we were watching the reveal, it was sort of like this sort of like, oh my God, what is going on? Firstly, the bloody snowmobile, 4 of them that you get. Talk us through that, Guzz, because it's seriously game changing.
Yeah, the Boogie drones, the BU-GI drones. I don't know who came up with the name for a drone. I don't look forward to saying that one on cast. It sounds a little bit weird, but it is what it is. 3 armor, 1 speed, of course. Hailing from South Korea. I think from taking a step back necessarily from like the gadget and stuff, just quickly touching on the design of the operator, you know, the aesthetic, how they look, the backstory. I'm not huge into the lore. I'm not going to pretend that I am, but I think that looked sick. I think from a design perspective, really unique operator, looked gritty, sort of harps back, I think, to maybe some of the older designs in Siege. So from that perspective, super exciting. But in terms of the drone itself, probably one of the first gadgets in a long time where I'm watching a reveal and my jaw is like kind of dropping a bit. I'm like, is this shit real?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what the hell is going on? This drone, 4 of them, in fact, has the potential to induce so much chaos around the map, and I think serves a lot of different purposes for a lot of different play styles, a lot of different play lists. It's going to be sort of the jack of all trades operator.
Yeah, it certainly will be. It's something that when I was sort of watching the reveal, and I kind of briefly said it to you, it does feel like it's going to have its place in ranked, in that sort of solo play environment where you feel like you want to get things done. You want to open up the site. You want to help out others. You're going to be able to play that. You'll also then be able to benefit from that. You know, you're not just on the skeleton key. You're not just on the sledge where you're just opening up and then kind of sitting back. You're able to set these boogie auto breaches. These I'm going to call them snowmobiles because they look like little snowmobiles. And then you activate it and you're able to kind of just sit behind it, right? And you can basically utilize the breach that has opened up by you straight away. And obviously that goes to with breaking down barriers and shields and whatnot. So it does kind of allow you to kind of set it, fire it, and then follow it. And I think there's a lot of solo play aspect to that. On top of the fact that for pro play and for teams, it just, the fact that you get 4 of them, she's got a really good gun, really good 1.5x and a 2x. She's obviously got another shotgun attachment. So in terms of soft breach, I think she probably becomes meta. That's my early impressions.
I think you throw her on border, you could quite literally probably open the entire map with the destructive capabilities that she has. Of course, we saw the gadget also had the ability to be toggled between 3 different modes. You can send it straight. You can also curve it in 2 alternate directions as well. So it's a little bit more versatile in that respect. Strong loadout as well, R4C. I think they showed it with a 2x on there. 1.5 is probably going to end up being preference, but that's pretty insane. Flashes. You also have secondary hard breach, so you can literally be the jack of all trades. Now, it is a 3 armor, so you're only a 1 speed. That might be limiting in some aspects, but I think makes perfect sense from a tuning standpoint. You don't want this being a super strong entry. So I think, yeah, just overall incredibly strong operator. And yeah, I think lends itself into solo queue, right? I think a lot of people would resonate with the fact with often when you're solo queuing, you often feel like you kind of have to do everything. With this operator, you kind of can to an extent. You're not a dedicated hard breach, but you can run secondary hard breach. You're not necessarily going to be actively playing the soft breach that you're opening, but you can still get that done as well and apply pressure. But then there's also great openings for team play, right? We've heard, and there was a tweet from Fast Dan, I'll pop it up. These drones are incredibly, incredibly loud. So even just from a rush perspective or sound coverage perspective, you can use it for that. It's just such an incredibly versatile gadget. And for the longest time, we've seen defenders probably get the better end of the deal with power spiking and balancing from these new operators. Now it's time for the attackers to sort of shine a little bit.
Now, of course, there are counters, and it's not exactly the super overwhelmingly overpowered operator that comes in. It's going to be auto-banned.
Yeah.
Firstly, what was said in the reveal is that it is actually electronic before it does get sent out. So if you throw it out and there's some mute jammer in the way, for example, that will stop it. And obviously you can shoot it. There's got like the little red attachment on the back, similar to a mirror.
Like a Goyo.
And like a Goyo shield, for example. So you can shoot that. So there are some ways to counter it. Along with the other fact is the operator herself, because she's a 3 armor 1 speed, she's probably going to be around her gadgets, right? She's not going to set it off and then run away to the other side of the map. So you kind of know, if you see that gadget, Ram is obviously going to be close by. Yep. That's at least one player information for the defenders to sort of know about. But in my honest opinion, looking at what we've seen, again, it's very brief. We haven't seen it in pro play. We haven't really seen it at all outside of just the reveal. It does seem very strong. It does seem like it can very easily replace your Bucks and your Sledges. Maybe not necessarily on all maps, but I think there will be a couple of maps here or there where you go, no, actually, we prefer the Ram in this situation. It can just do this better, or you can play off of this better. So I'm going to be very keen to see how she integrates into the meta, especially in competitive. But I think in terms of solo play, in terms of ranked, I think she's going to be a very high pick rate operator.
Yeah, again, I think for that versatility. Look, obviously we made the joke, right? Is Buck and Sledge dead? I don't think so, right? They have enough differentiating factors, and I don't think unless 4 is too many of these drones is going to be completely overbearing. Buck has the advantage of being able to obviously vert from down below. You can't do that with Ram. Sledge has the advantage of having grenades in pocket as well. So there's enough differentiating factors. Obviously being able to open soft breach and not then being as exposed. Obviously you can open this at range and you can do other stuff in the meanwhile while that's being opened up. Whereas Buck and Sledge obviously much more dedicated to that role. Is it going to necessarily be overtuned? Maybe, but I think there's now enough differentiation between those 3 primary soft breaches for them to all be enjoyable to play and for them all to have their place in different particular situations and different maps.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. I don't think there's probably too much more to touch on Ram. I think, unfortunately, we just need to see a little bit more. We need to see her.
It's always the way with these updates, right? Everyone reacts, including us. Then it gets played. Can be the same as what we think. It could be complete opposite. Yeah, could be a garbage. Could be even better than we think.
It could be completely awful. It could be the most broken operator. We don't really know until we see it in pro play. Until the pro players themselves also get their hands on it, and then tactics around it.
And then it filters down like everything else.
Exactly.